Well, here we go again. Activision Blizzard is once again under fire for allegedly encouraging a toxic workplace culture where women were mistreated and discriminated against. But this time, there's a pretty important new detail. Because allegedly, all the terrible things we've heard about Activision Blizzard over the past year go all the way to the top. Alright, so in case you missed our previous 3 videos about the subject, Activision Blizzard is currently being sued by the state of California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing for allegedly enabling and encouraging a toxic workplace culture that was brutal towards women. Last we heard about all this, Blizzard had installed new co-leads, and Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick called his company's response to the lawsuit tone-deaf. But guess what? Turns out Kotick allegedly wrote that tone-deaf response himself. On Tuesday, Kristen Grind, Ben Fritz, and Sarah E. Needleman of the Wall Street Journal published an article detailing Kotick's part in the whole Activision Blizzard saga. Before we get into the allegations laid out in the video, I just wanted to let you know that we are going to be discussing sexual violence as we go on. I just wanted to let you know before we go further. The article starts out with an allegation that in 2018, a former Sledgehammer Games employee sued the company because she said she was raped twice by a supervisor who had pressured her to drink too much at work events and in the office. That supervisor, later identified in the article as Javier Panameno, was also accused in the lawsuit by the lawyers of having sexually harassed another woman at the studio. Kotick allegedly received an email about this and did not take any action himself, which directly contradicts his alleged statements to his own board of directors that he wasn't aware of these kinds of issues at the company, and that the ones he did know about were mostly happening on the Blizzard side of the company and had already been resolved. According to the article, Activision, which owns Sledgehammer Games, settled the lawsuit out of court, and Kotick allegedly didn't tell his board of directors about the lawsuit, the accusations of rape, or the settlement. Other allegations related to Kotick in the article include that he covered up and protected Dan Bunting, the co-head of Treyarch, another Activision-owned studio that works on Call of Duty when Bunting was accused of sexually harassing a female employee in 2017. The article alleges that Kotick had heard about senior employees at Activision Blizzard harassing, assaulting, or otherwise mistreating women multiple times over the years. And allegedly, he wasn't just hearing about it. He was occasionally part of it too. The Wall Street Journal alleges that Kotick was accused of telling one of his assistants he was going to destroy her in 2006, and that in 2007, he was sued by a former flight attendant on the private jet he co-owned because he allegedly fired her and told her he was going to destroy her when she said that the pilot had sexually harassed her. But the most truly confusing part of this whole thing is that tone-deaf thing I mentioned earlier. See, back in October, an email sent to all Activision Blizzard employees was leaked to the press. The email was sent by Fran Townsend, who is the company's chief compliance officer, and was roundly criticized for calling the lawsuit meritless. Even Kotick criticized it, calling it tone-deaf. But in a truly insane twist, turns out he might have written it himself. According to the Wall Street Journal, Kotick drafted that email and asked it to be sent out by Townsend, who later stepped down from her role as the head of the Activision Blizzard Women's Network as a result of the fallout. In the wake of the news breaking, the ABK Workers Alliance, an informal coalition of Activision Blizzard employees, spoke out on Twitter, calling for Kotick's resignation. After the news broke earlier this year about the alleged toxic workplace culture at the Blizzard side of the company, many high-profile members of the Blizzard team stepped down, including President J. Allen Brack. At the time, the ABK Workers Alliance didn't call for resignations like that, so their call for Kotick's resignation is pretty significant. The ABK Workers Alliance organized a walkout on Tuesday as well, which saw over 100 employees leave their work-from-home setups to stand outside the office and call for Kotick's resignation. The walkout and the general response from employees received a lot of positive coverage from the press, and the hashtag #FireBobbyKotick even trended on Twitter on Tuesday. And Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reports that the CEO of Sony's PlayStation division, Jim Ryan, wrote an email to employees criticizing Kotick after the news broke. Amidst everything about Kotick, the original Wall Street Journal report also noted that Jen O'Neill, one of the co-heads appointed to lead Blizzard after Brack stepped down, told Activision Blizzard that she didn't believe the company could fix their culture problem. O'Neill, who stepped down earlier this month, less than 2 months after taking the position as co-lead at Blizzard, allegedly sent an email to Activision's legal team in which she said that she had been sexually harassed while working at the company and that she was being paid less than her male co-lead despite being appointed at the same time. On Wednesday, IGN's Kat Bailey reported that O'Neill was only offered a contract with equal pay after tendering her resignation. To be clear, What allegedly happened here is that after bombshell reports that Activision Blizzard was enabling the mistreatment and harassment of women, and that women employees were underpaid at the company, they promoted a woman to a position of leadership and then underpaid her. Genius move. Amidst all of this news, Activision Blizzard stock took a massive dive on Tuesday, and there are reports that some shareholders are calling for Kodak's resignation. Mind you, according to Schreier again, this group of shareholders isn't exactly the most powerful by themselves. Ultimately, while there are an immense number of voices calling for Kodak's resignation, there are some more powerful voices that are still standing behind him. On Tuesday, Activision Blizzard's board of directors put out a statement defending Kodak, saying that he's appropriately addressed workplace issues brought to his attention, which is something some people have questioned.
The journal says that Kodak did not, or lied by omission if you want to, did not mention the board. The board comes out immediately and endorses him, which is right. I mean, if there was a full vetting by the board and there was a big investigation, I get that. But if the board didn't know, David, then who are they to say everything's fine?
And then, late on Tuesday, game developers Brian Francis reported on an Activision Blizzard all-hands meeting where executives answered pre-screened questions from employees. According to game developer, the company reportedly told employees in that meeting that Activision Blizzard's zero-tolerance policy, which only launched in October, by the way, won't apply to Kodak because what he was directly accused of doing happened a decade ago, and they don't have evidence. Notably, back in 2008, arbitration decided that Kodak had to pay out $200,000 to that flight attendant we mentioned earlier. And that mostly brings us up to today. It's definitely possible that Kodak could resign, but with the board standing behind him and only a small number of shareholders calling for his head, it just seems kind of unlikely to me. See, sometimes to the kinds of people who make these decisions in these kinds of situations, money matters more than morals. Kodak has made a lot of money for Activision shareholders over the years, and they're interested in staying in a position to keep making that kind of money. And look, a lot of you are probably out there wondering right now if you should still be playing and buying Activision games after all this. And I don't really want to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing. Sure, some bad company might make less money if you don't buy their game, but also some decent person working on that game might get fired when it isn't a hit. Kind of a shitty situation no matter what you do. And ultimately, it's the executives at the top who have an easy time lining up new gigs when they leave their jobs, while in the games industry, it's often really hard to find new work when you don't have hits in your portfolio. Look, what I'm saying is you're not making some kind of grand moral decision by enjoying a video game. Ultimately, it's your choice whether you want to play Activision Blizzard games or not, and it doesn't make you a terrible person for falling on either side of it. Because it's not your job to fix Activision Blizzard's problems. It's Activision Blizzard's job. At the end of the day, I'm sure we'd all like it if Activision Blizzard fixed their shit because real people's lives are being hurt here. I'm just not very confident in what kind of change is gonna happen with guys like Kodak at the helm. But who knows? Maybe if the chorus of voices calling for change gets loud enough, actual change can happen.